Welcome to Betrayal Stories. New episodes weekly.
I'm 50 years old. I've been married for over 22 years. We started with nothing: dorm hallways, borrowed furniture, hand-me-down pots. We stacked small victories: first real job, a baby, then another, a mortgage, a backyard that needed too much mowing. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. I always thought our marriage was solid. We argued like anyone, but I believed the ground under us was bedrock. 2 years ago, that ground cracked in 10 seconds. I was supposed to work late. A meeting ended early, and I drove home thinking about leftovers and emails. When I opened our front door, the apartment fell to quiet, and then I heard voices, muffled, from our bedroom. It's strange what your body does. My heart moved into my ears. My hands forgot what to do with keys. I walked down the hall, turned the handle, and saw my wife with another man. He looked 30-something. Jim Strong. She looked young next to him in a way I hadn't seen in years. I didn't yell. I didn't lunge. I closed the door. I walked back out. I don't even remember the elevator ride. I remember the steering wheel under my hands, slick with sweat, and the sound of my breathing like someone else was doing it for me. People think rage is the worst part. It wasn't. After the first 10 minutes, something colder took its place. A vacuum. Like a pressure change in the cabin at 30,000 feet. 20 years of a life we built together suddenly felt like a movie set, pretty from the front, wooden braces and paint on the back. The next morning, I came home. She was at the kitchen table with red eyes. We sat in silence until I said, "Explain." I expected lies, excuses. She didn't give them. She said, "I'm wrong. I'm not going to defend it. But I've felt alone next to you for years. You come home, you eat, you sleep. We don't talk. Your job is your oxygen. In furniture you dust at Christmas. It burned to hear it. And there was a piece of truth I hated. I've always equated love with providing. Promotions, vacations, a safe house, college savings. That was my marriage language. Somewhere along the way, I stopped being curious about my wife. When did she last laugh at something that wasn't a meme? What would she do with a free afternoon? I didn't know. She said this other man listened. He made her feel seen, wanted, alive. None of that justifies what she did. It only explained the door she decided to open. I didn't leave. Not that day. Not the next. Our kids are grown, but they still orbit the house on Sundays. Our friends are mutual. Our stories are braided. Starting over at 50 sounds brave on the internet. In real life, it's a demolition plane you live inside of. My pride wanted to pack a bag. My chest wanted to stay. We found a couples therapist. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, I would roll my eyes at communication tools. Turns out, when you can't talk without bleeding on each other, a third chair in the room helps. The therapist asked for rules if we were going to attempt repair. We wrote them down. Rule 1, no contact with him. Not a text, not a closure coffee, not a silent like. She changed her number. She wrote a no contact message and showed it to me. She blocked him everywhere. I didn't make her do it. She offered it. That matters. Rule 2, radical transparency for 90 days. Locations shared. Calendars visible. Passwords in a sealed envelope to be opened only together if there was a trigger. Not forever. For stability while the ground stopped shaking. Rule 3, weekly state of us meetings. No chores. No phones. 2 questions. What hurt this week? What helped? I wish I could tell you that after we wrote the rules, healing began in a straight line. It didn't. I woke up some nights with the image from the doorway playing on loop like a cruel gif. A shampoo commercial about new beginnings sent me to the garage to breathe. Someone at work made a joke about work wives, and my hands felt electric for an hour. Triggers aren't logical. They don't care about the calendar. There were good days too. She planned a picnic in the park we used to walk through when we were broke. I said thank you and meant it. She asked me about a client, not to fix it, just to understand why I cared. I asked her what album she loved in college, and we ended up dancing in our kitchen at 10 p.m. with the dog looking confused. I didn't tell our kids. I told them we were doing counseling and working on communication. That's the line I chose. Protect their idea of family or be brutally honest and risk turning their mother into a villain in their heads. I picked protection. You can disagree. I still don't know if I was right. About 4 months in, I got a text from an unknown number. Can we talk? I felt my stomach drop through the floor. I showed it to her without a word. She looked at me, opened her phone, and said, "Call it." It was a bank fraud alert. We laughed and then I cried in the laundry room like a cracked pipe. That's what the aftermath does. It turns normal life into a minefield. You step, you explode, you step again. My friends didn't help at first. I told 2 of them I trusted. One said, "Leave now. Be a man." The other said, "If you stay, you'll never respect yourself again." Neither sentence held me when the house was quiet. Neither friend was there when she set her phone on the table face up and said, "Ask anything." Here is the quiet part I don't like about myself. I wasn't a cheater, but I was absent. I used to work like a bunker and came home with whatever patients I had left, which was none. I apologized for that, not because it caused her choice, but because it was my side of the street to sweep. So what does staying look like at 50? It looks like Tuesday night check-ins and learning to say, "I feel hurt" instead of "you always." It looks like deleting the location share at day 91 because you said you would, and trusting your own boundary instead of a blue dot on a map. It looks like leaving a cookout early because someone made a joke about upgrading models, and you decided your peace matters more than being polite. It looks like my wife saying, "I know you have a picture in your head." I can't erase it. I can only make 1,000 other moments bigger. It looks like me realizing forgiveness isn't a certificate you print, it's a path you walk until one day you notice the scenery changed. 2 years later, have I forgiven her? Not fully. The rush shows up usually when I'm tired. I don't want a divorce. I also don't want to spend the next 30 years measuring her phone battery percentage like it's a lie detector. So I gave us a timeline. Not an ultimatum, those are threats pretending to be plans. A checkpoint. At the end of this year, we sit down and decide who we are. If we're both still choosing this every day, we mark it. Renew vows in our backyard with paper plates and bad coffee. Or we separate with respect while we still like the people we used to be. No villains. Just humans who couldn't stitch one wound into a future. If you're here for a clean moral, I don't have one. Staying isn't always strength. Leaving isn't always courage. Sometimes love is picking up the heavy thing that broke you and seeing if you can carry it together without it cutting your hands every single day. If this were your life, your age, your history, what would you do? What does self-respect look like after betrayal when the person who hurt you is also the person who knows how you take your coffee and remembers your dad's birthday? I closed the door that day because I wasn't ready to explode a life we built. 2 years later, I open the door to the kitchen most mornings, make 2 mugs, and try again. That's my truth. I'm listening for yours. Would you stay and rebuild or leave with dignity? Where's the line between forgiveness and losing yourself?
Thanks for watching Betrayal Stories. New episodes weekly.